At this point, I would like to invite public comments, and we'll start with Andreen Swenson. Please, Dr. Swenson.
Oh, actually, we're going to be starting with Andrew Thorpe. Sorry about that, Lepteris.
Okay, that is a change that is, I don't see it here, but yes, Dr. Thorpe, please.
Could I just do a quick audio check, please?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Thorpe. Very well.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Andrew Thorpe, the US Dermatology Team Leader within Pfizer's Information and Immunology Medical Organization. On behalf of Pfizer, I would like to acknowledge the IFA staff and consultants and the numerous stakeholders who have contributed to this review. I appreciate the opportunity to share some of Pfizer's perspectives on the assessment. Over the course of our work, we have heard firsthand from patients, families, advocacy groups, and healthcare providers about the profound clinical, humanistic, and economic impact that atopic dermatitis has. Pfizer has incorporated these perspectives into our activities, particularly in selecting trial outcomes that are meaningful to patients. Pfizer has announced positive results from our clinical trial program, where abrocitinib has demonstrated significant improvements in AD measures, including rapid itch relief. For example, within 2 days for some patients as seen in pooled monotherapy studies, with a consistent safety and tolerability profile. In addition to the 4 trials included in NICE's analysis, we have also reported positive results from our adolescent phase 3 study and results from a responder-enriched randomized withdrawal study. We believe this body of evidence, inclusive of 20 distinct patient-reported outcomes, coupled with longer-term safety data beyond 48 weeks, demonstrates the holistic value of abrocitinib and a favorable risk-benefit profile for patients who suffer from moderate to severe AD. We appreciate that ICER has addressed many of the points Pfizer raised throughout the review process. I'd like to cover elements of our recommended elevation of abrocitinib's evidence rating. When considering the comparison of abrocitinib with standard of care, defined as topical emollients, Pfizer would recommend a change from BI to B+, an incremental or better rating. Our monotherapy studies have demonstrated abrocitinib's significant improvement across IGA, EASI, itch, and additional validated patient-reported outcomes compared with placebo. The monotherapy trials permitted the use of topical, non-medicated emollients. Confirming ICER's network meta-analysis, a recently published and peer-reviewed network meta-analysis by Silverberg et al. Showed that abrocitinib was estimated to have a greater than 98% probability of superiority over placebo with respect to IGA and itch response. When concerning the evidence rating of abrocitinib compared to dupilumab, we recommend elevation from I to B+, an incremental or better rating. In J-compare, when compared to dupilumab, statistical superiority of abrocitinib 200 milligrams, a numerically higher response of abrocitinib 100 milligrams was achieved on the key secondary itch response at week 2. In addition to patient-centered trial endpoints, patient preference is an important consideration not traditionally captured in network meta-analyses or economic models. A recently published patient preference study of systemic AD treatment attributes among 320 moderate to severe AD patients found that patients significantly preferred an oral therapy, oral daily administration, over a biweekly subcutaneous injection, and also preferred treatments with rapid onset of itch relief. We believe both of these characteristics of abrocitinib should be considered as a part of the net health benefit rating compared with dupilumab. ICER explains that a primary reason for not elevating abrocitinib's current rating center around existing box warnings for oral JAK inhibitors for other indications. We fully recognize that safety is a critical consideration and component of a treatment's risk-benefit profile and ICER's evidence rating. The continuous assessment and reporting of the safety profile of our medicines is a priority, and abrocitinib's long-term extension study, whose primary endpoint is safety, is ongoing. We're confident in the risk-benefit profile of abrocitinib as a treatment for moderate to severe atopic dermatitis. Pfizer respectfully believes that the evidence rating of abrocitinib compared to standard of care anti-dupilumab merits of elevation as supported by the points I've highlighted today and in our written response. Though we have some remaining concerns with the assessment, we acknowledge the efforts to seek and incorporate input from diverse stakeholders, especially considering a number of investigational agents are under active regulatory review. We believe that methods assessing the value of medicine should continue improving, especially in their ability to capture patient-centered outcomes and preferences. Pfizer is dedicated to advancing such methodologies and is committed to working with stakeholders to identify solutions for creating more effective, efficient, and equitable healthcare system for patients. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Thorpe. I would like to invite the ICER team to respond to the comment made by Dr. Thorpe, please.
I can respond to that. I think I sort of spoke to this a bit earlier, which is something is going on that's causing the FDA to be very worried about the JAKs. I would be interested from any of the manufacturer commenters, including from Pfizer, if they have a sense of why the FDA is so concerned and what's going on, because we don't have any direct insight to that and they may. So it would be helpful to us to understand what has caused FDA to put hold after hold on this, even on the topical therapy, which really suggests a lot of concern about the JAKs.
Yes, I can address that as on Pfizer's behalf. All I can say is that we have an active filing ongoing, of course. We did issue a press release earlier this week, noting that the FDA will not meet its PDUFA goal date for the new drug application for abrocitinib in moderate to severe atopic dermatitis. And in that press release, we did note that the FDA cited its ongoing review of Pfizer's post-marketing safety study oral surveillance, which evaluates tofacitinib in RA patients as a factor for the extensions.
Thank you, Dr. Thorpe. I would like to move to discuss and invite Dr. Feely to present her public comment for 5 minutes, please.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation to speak. My name is Megan Feely. I am a senior medical advisor at Eli Lilly and a clinical instructor in the Department of Dermatology at Mount Sinai in New York City. Today, I'll be speaking on behalf of Eli Lilly. And I first would like to thank my internal team, our stakeholders, and also thank ICER for the opportunity to provide comments today. As many of the speakers have mentioned already, most moderate to severe atopic dermatitis patients live a life of compromise, where existing topical therapies are no longer adequate to manage disease. In patients with moderate to severe atopic dermatitis, review of existing treatment patterns indicate that for many patients, the use of existing topical regimens is followed by an inadequate response, leading to a cycle of short-term systemic treatments to attempt to control the patient's worst symptoms, but without achieving good disease control or consistent control. After completion of short courses of conventional immunosuppressants or systemic corticosteroids, topical regimens are then resumed. The cycle fails to provide appropriate management of symptoms for our patients, but still few advance in their care to using dupilumab. Dupilumab is presently the only novel systemic agent approved for the moderate to severe atopic dermatitis population. Therefore, there is significant unmet need in atopic dermatitis for moderate to severe patients who are failing topical treatments, but who are not willing to commit to indefinite treatment with an injectable biologic. At this time, baricitinib is not FDA approved for the treatment of moderate to severe atopic dermatitis, though discussions with the FDA are presently ongoing. Lilly believes that Olumiant is uniquely placed to serve patients with moderate to severe atopic dermatitis, where short-term systemics and topical regimens are inadequately controlling disease, adding an additional treatment option for patients suffering from moderate to severe disease. The BREEZE AD5 clinical trial of baricitinib 2 milligrams in the moderate to severe atopic dermatitis population is a North American study that best represents the US population of patients impacted by this disorder. In the clinical trial for BREEZE 85, baricitinib 2 milligrams met the primary endpoint. In addition, and this is a primary endpoint in EASY at week 16. And in addition, we had 24% of our patients treated with baricitinib 2 milligrams who achieved a key secondary endpoint of skin inflammation defined by clear or almost clear skin. And finally, the drug had a quick onset of action to address symptoms like itch, which are incredibly meaningful for our patients and their quality of life, and a 4-point or greater improvement on the itch numeric rating scale, ultimately reached by 25% of patients in the 2 milligram arm compared to 6% in the placebo group. In total, in BREEZE 85, adults with moderate to severe disease receiving baricitinib 2 milligram monotherapy experienced improvements in skin inflammation, skin pain, itch, sleep disturbance due to itch, and quality of life versus placebo-treated patients. And the safety profile in BREEZE 85 was consistent with the known safety findings of baricitinib in atopic dermatitis across the spectrum of our clinical trial program. The most common treatment emergent event included upper respiratory tract infections, nasopharyngitis, and diarrhea. No venous thromboembolic events or deaths were reported in the clinical trial. And in general, the safety profile showed that it was well tolerated. Lilly submitted data on the lowest efficacious dose of baricitinib in atopic dermatitis to the FDA at 2 milligrams. And we remain confident in the positive benefit risk profile of Olumiant in the supplemental new drug application for the AD population. And we are committed to continuing to investigate its potential across the different indications being studied. In totality, there are more than 13,000 patient years and more than 8 years of exposure to Olumiant in rheumatoid arthritis, with no new safety concerns identified. We have an ongoing phase 3 program in atopic dermatitis, alopecia areata, systemic lupus, erythematosus, so SLE, and COVID-19, and have just recently published pooled safety data from 8 clinical trials in atopic dermatitis, collected for over 2,500 patients who were given baricitinib for over 2,000 patient years with a median duration of over 300 days. Lilly is committed to transparency about the clinical profile of baricitinib 2 milligrams in patients with moderate to severe disease, including its safety and tolerability. ICER's assessment of potential novel treatment options for patients with moderate to severe atopic dermatitis has shed light on a variety of mechanisms and a variety of delivery systems that may soon be available for patients and for which we're incredibly grateful. And additional transparency on the data included in ICER's assessment would aid in this patient to provider and value-based decision maker evaluation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Philly.
Thank you.
I would like to open it for any comments from the ICER team. If there are no comments, we can use this time to proceed to the next presentation by Kyle Winston. Please proceed with your presentation, 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning to our colleagues from ICER and members of the CEPAC. My name is Kyle Winston, and I am the head of the Sanofi Genzyme Health Economics and Value Assessment Group. I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Anna Rossi, who is a dermatologist and a member of Sanofi Genzyme's medical organization. We are both pleased to present today's discussion. We first engaged with ICER in 2017 during their review of dupilumab for moderate to severe atopic dermatitis. At that time, ICER established a range of value-based prices. Independently of this process, Sanofi Genzyme, in collaboration with Regeneron and taking into consideration patient needs, determined that dupilumab's price according to Sanofi's pricing policy. The resulting price happened to fall within ICER's range. I'd like to note that a company's pricing decision rarely aligns so well with ICER's recommendation. We feel that this demonstrates how we follow our stated principles for responsible pricing and our commitment to achieving affordable access for patients who need our medicines. Dupilumab's price was viewed by some analysts as lower than it should have been based on its transformative value. Despite how well dupilumab's price aligned with ICER's recommendation, our discussions with payers have been dominated by rebates. This situation, which continues to exist, is based on a set of mixed incentives where companies are encouraged to set prices to enable substantial rebates. As stated in Sanofi's policy, we establish a clear rationale for our launch prices that includes a holistic assessment of our medicine's value and affordable access for patients. Since dupilumab's launch, we have only made modest and predictable price increases in line with our policy. This is reflected by the fact that dupilumab's or any other Sanofi medicine has never been included in ICER's list of products that have taken unsubstantial price increases. ICER's 2017 review noted several important questions that could not be answered at that time. Recognizing that managing AD requires long-term treatment, we shared ICER's desire to learn more about this important medicine and initiated many studies to understand the difference it's making in the lives of patients. This included independent registries and the largest pediatric registry in moderate to severe AD. Our evaluation of long-term data has established that dupilumab is not an immunosuppressant. Pooled results of clinical trials, including adults, adolescents, and children, have demonstrated that treated patients have lower rates of infections, serious infections, and hepatic infections compared to placebo. Dupilumab has also been associated with reduced rates and duration of all-cause and AD-related hospitalizations. Furthermore, a 3-year open-label extension study dupilumab's favorable safety and sustained efficacy. Safety data from this study were consistent with 1-year trials, and the rate of infections at 3 years was even lower than 1 year. Furthermore, the signs and symptoms of atopic dermatitis showed sustained improvements over 3 years. As we all know, no medicine will help patients suffering from a chronic condition like AD if they do not take it consistently. Analyses of healthcare data have shown that a very high rate of persistency with dupilumab over 12 months, and an independent registry showed dupilumab's persistency to be over 80% after 2 years of treatment. We are encouraged by these findings because they suggest that patients who persist are probably receiving meaningful value from their treatment and thereby managing their chronic disease. We appreciate that ICER has taken a holistic approach to its comparison of clinical effectiveness, where all forms of evidence were considered. Dupilumab is the only systemic therapy with established long-term safety and effectiveness data. We appreciate how ICER acknowledged that unanswered questions from the 2017 review have been addressed with long-term evidence. Thank you again for the opportunity to participate in today's meeting and in the important process that began last December. Both Dr. Rossi and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. I don't see a reason for ICER to have a response to anything here, but if they do, please proceed. If not, I would like to invite Dr. Ahmad Naeem for 5 minutes to present, to make a public statement. Thank you very much, and please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. And my name is Ahmad Naeem, and I'm the Vice President, U.S. Medical Affairs at Insight. And I wish to thank ICER and CEPAC for allowing us this time for this discussion and comments. So in the TRuE-AD1 and 2 studies, which are the 2 phase 3 studies, ruxolitinib cream demonstrated superior clinical efficacy against vehicle, with over half of the patients achieving skin clearance as measured by IGA treatment success, and a similar proportion of patients achieving clinically meaningful and statistically significant reductions in itch as measured by the itch numerical rating score. Furthermore, almost 2/3 of the patients, 62%, achieved 75% improvement in extent and severity of disease as denoted by EASI-75 at 8 weeks. Just quickly looking at the safety, a very small number of adverse events were reported in both phase 3 studies, and majority were not related to ruxolitinib cream. Furthermore, the Rux cream was very well tolerated, as demonstrated by the very low reports of application site reactions and or burning or stinging. I just would like to add that the TRuE-AD studies were designed with a lot of input from clinical experts to be as closely to the real-world clinical management of atopic dermatitis. And those patients that were enrolled, 90% of those had prior experience with either topical or systemic treatments, and they had tried quite a few of the treatments. And as such, they were inadequately managed or controlled that were enrolled in the studies. I just would also like to add that ruxolitinib cream was purposefully designed as a topical JAK inhibitor from its very inception. And it was designed to be a locally acting therapy with minimal systemic absorption. The recent peer-reviewed publication on the pharmacokinetics of ruxolitinib cream from our phase 3 studies showed that the application of Rux cream resulted in very high bioavailability in the skin to control the disease, while a very small proportion, approximately 5%, was absorbed systemically. Again, the very low adverse events that were observed in the phase 3 studies are also indicative of this negligible systemic absorption. Based on these results and characteristics, we request that ICER consider Rux cream as a novel topical JAK inhibitor and review it separately from oral JAK inhibitors. I also, in closing, would like to say that ruxolitinib cream has demonstrated superior evidence as compared to topical emollients with high certainty of a substantial net benefit. We believe that ruxolitinib cream provides a beneficial treatment option for patients suffering from atopic dermatitis if they're mild to moderate in nature as we enrolled in our studies. I wish you again, thank you all for providing this opportunity for us to state our comments.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naim. I would like to invite the ICER team to tell us their thoughts about Dr. Naim's comments and request that topical JAK inhibitor is considered, and if the preliminary data that were outlined by Dr. Naim are enough to convince you to this statement, please.
Yeah, I will say that the data on efficacy are very convincing, and that our evidence rating would likely have been higher had the FDA not taken the action it took to include the topical JAK in its hold, leaving us uncertain about their concerns about safety. So I would ask again, sort of the same question, if you understand what's going on that has led FDA to take this position, because we're acting from a position of that evidence rating reflects our uncertainty. And we're not, in fact, so uncertain that we're calling it promising but inconclusive. We're assuming that we really don't believe there's net possible harm, but we have to take into account that there are clearly concerns that there must be some harms offsetting benefits given the FDA action that we haven't heard about yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can address that. So I think the delay in the review for the TRuE-AD studies for our NDA in atopic dermatitis is just based on the class. We have announced in our press release that we received no information that indicates that there are any safety concerns for Rux cream. So I think the delay is just based on a class review is what we have heard.
Thank you. I would like now to invite a patient representative. That is always the most powerful part of the day for me. Samantha Bittner, please proceed with your public statement. And
Hi. Oh, sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam. I'm 22 years old. I have suffered with chronic to severe atopic dermatitis my whole life, and a bit nervous. But what I would like everyone to understand is that when I ask my doctors to help treat me, I'm not asking them to fix an itch. I'm asking them to improve my overall quality of life, which has been affected by this since, as I said, I was a toddler. I actually remember asking my doctor to get rid of my itchy monsters when I was little, because I felt like I was being attacked by my own skin. And I still feel like that to this day. And I actually remember telling my 5th grade teacher that I was going to cure eczema one day. Sadly, I have not been able to. But even then, at the age of probably 10 years old, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I had no idea the long road ahead that I was going to have to face. I had no idea that I was going to have to get staph infections cut open starting at the age of 6. I was held down countless times to get them cut open, and now I suffer PTSD because of it. I had no idea that I was going to have to leave high school and give up all of my hobbies and stop seeing my friends and stop seeing my family. And I can't tell you the mental toll that will take on someone, that type of isolation. And also to be told time and time again that you're out of treatment options. That takes a huge mental toll that I am still dealing with to this day. And every part of my life is affected by this disease, my career path, my family dynamic, my relationships. And there are no such things as simple decisions when you have atopic dermatitis. I can't even grocery shop without having this escape plan in my head in case my eyelids start to crack and bleed. Even taking a shower will make me cry sometimes because the shower feels like acid is coming out of the faucet instead of water. And it's taken a huge impact on my overall quality of life. And there are little to no treatment options for someone with chronic to severe atopic dermatitis. I know there are treatments available, but every atopic dermatitis patient's different, and not all of them are effective for us. And I've tried phototherapy, I've gone on methotrexate, I've tried Dupixent, I've tried topical steroids. And to this day, I'm still facing chronic to severe atopic dermatitis. I'm still waking up with blood all over my bed sheets. I still can't get a sound quality of sleep. And I was actually told by the program director at a local college that I was a liability if I ever wanted to be a surgical tech. So every part of my life is affected by this disease. And most atopic dermatitis patients will tell you that, and this is all for a disease that most people in my life don't take seriously. There's this stigma that you can just change your diet or use creams and this disease will go away. But sadly, that's not the truth. And I appreciate everybody's efforts into creating new treatments for us. I really do, because I can't tell you how much this disease will dictate every part of your life. And I really appreciate everyone listening to me. And I'm really hopeful that there will be more options for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. We really appreciate sharing your thoughts. I would like to start a quick 10 minutes of public comment, thoughts, and discussion on the information that we received. But I would like to start with a statement that here we are asked to provide feedback in real time that will affect real human beings in an area where there is a lot of inadequate data. We have a big lack of knowledge of the potential risks of some of those treatments. Are we overly concerned or not? Even the pharmacokinetics of some of those treatments or the doses are inadequately studied, or more data will come up. In some cases, we have no data about the cost. We have no data about the efficacy in adolescents, which is a very important population for this kind of treatments, for some of those elements. And we have no head-to-head comparison. And very importantly, we have limited tools to evaluate the efficacy. We heard from the clinical experts questioning the markers that most studies are using and how they are applicable. And very importantly, we have no way to measure the pain and agony that Sam described, and I'm sure that a lot of other individuals go through. So in this ocean of uncertainty, we are trying to find the best application of the data that we have, and that is a challenge for us. Please, I would like to invite comments and thoughts.
Well, Lefterios, I think what we're going to do now is, since we're a little bit ahead of schedule, let's go ahead and take the break that we have scheduled, and that way we can come back at 11:15, and that will be the perfect time to answer your question and open up the conversation to talk more broadly about the evidence again in many of the ways that you described as it leads into the votes. All right, so let's come back and pick that up exactly where you teed us up to do at 11:15. I know it says 11:25 on the slide there, but since we're early, that'll give us more time for discussion before the voting. So let's all return at 11:15. Thank you.
And I think that we're going to benefit from the expertise of our clinical experts during the course of the day.